What up, though? This is your boy BC430, along with me, Mother 11.
What up?
Tyler D.
What up, though?
Granddad Willie.
What up, what up?
First, I just want to say appreciate you guys for helping us get to 2,000 subscribers. Hope we can get to many more. Get us to 200K soon. But this video, we're going to discuss our top 5 favorite video games of all time. Starting right now, gonna go with Granddad.
This is a difficult list, y'all. Stress was given. And I just went by, like I said, the favorites that I've played over my life that have replay value, that have had the best impact on my life, and also just general fun factor. So I'm gonna go not in rank of like top to bottom, but I'm gonna do it from release. So Mario Kart 64, Killer Instinct Gold, Resident Evil 4, The Last of Us, and Smash Ultimate. Top 5.
That's a surprise because I think since we've been doing this, I don't think I've never heard you mention Killer Instinct.
So I've mentioned it here and there, but because Killer Instinct, honestly, it just had the most replay value for me as far as a fighting game during that time. And yeah, they made a newer one for Xbox, and I played the PC version of it, and it's good. But Killer Instinct Gold is just that it had that sweet spot because it gave me the vibe and feel of the original Killer Instinct. But it just still it just has this like nostalgic place to it. The Ultra Combo is like one of the best fucking things to ever accomplish in a fucking fighting game. Like just being able to do that shit, and the way that it just like showcases, and they had the Fatos and the characters like Saberwolf, which is my main, also Orchid, Tusk, Jago, like this the story of it, the dark grittiness of it. Like Killer Instinct is just like one of them games that I don't think it's talked about enough. Other games base their combo system off how well Killer Instinct did it. So that's the reason why that was on my list. So yeah, no Mortal Kombat. I love it though. You know me. You know I love my MK, but
I know.
It couldn't make it to the top 5. If we had top 10, we could talk.
It's funny to me that you mentioned Mario Kart 64, especially because you said replay value was a huge kind of point of like criteria for you for this list. And the thing is like Mario Kart 64 might make my top 10, but if I think about it in terms of replay value, that's probably the old school game that I replayed the most or have replayed the most like since it came out. Because it's like people, my friends, because they all know that I still have a Nintendo 64 and have like Mario Kart 64, be hitting me up like, can I come play Mario Kart? Like that's the thing.
Mario Kart.
I completely agree.
It is. The close second Mario Kart is Mario Kart 8, the recent one that they have out, but 64 had it just perfect.
I still can't play Mario Kart with any other controller.
Exactly. And it boils down to that 64 controller is what I'm saying. It's the way that it was designed, it was made for Mario Kart. Like the Z button with the trigger and the analog stick and just the way that you hold it. It's like how can you not want to play Mario Kart 64 on a controller like other than that? And just the levels, the stages, and the competitiveness, and then if you were with your friends, you had the four people play, and it's honestly like you pop that game in, it's the same thing. It's the same feel, same vibe. So yeah, like Mario Kart as a franchise is top of all time as far as a racing game, but just that 64 one, nothing tops that one. I don't think they're gonna make a better Mario Kart game than Mario Kart 64, honestly. So.
In battle mode, I've only met one person who can consistently beat me in battle mode, like in my entire life.
Shit, yeah.
So you was giving out problems like that on battle mode.
I was fucking handing out smoke everywhere. Passing out L's like fucking alphabet soup in this bitch.
There you go. Yeah, Mario Kart 64.
And what else on that list?
Resident Evil 4 changed the whole direction of Resident Evil in general. First 3 Resident Evils, I loved them, but it really just put it into a whole perspective from the third person, perspective, and the advanced level of how the enemies were, the different setting, because you weren't the camera angles, the story was great, the weaponry was cool, you had the merchant, what are you buying, what are you selling, all those new aspects to the game really took Resident Evil to a new level. And then the fact that it was a GameCube exclusive, like I was hyped about that because I was like a Super Nintendo fanboy at that time. So I had a GameCube. I didn't have any other like console. So when I heard it was just coming to GameCube, that shit made me so fucking happy. And then when it was so good, I was like people who had PlayStations and shit like that, they were like salty as fuck. Cause I'm like, yeah, you ain't got this game. And they had to wait so long to get that shit. So I had that sense of pride. I was like, yo, I got this dope ass game and nobody else can get it unless you get this GameCube. And I think that was one of, honestly, it's probably top 3 games on the GameCube. When it was played on your Twitch, when you were doing the Resident Evil thing, getting ready, like I was like, man, I want to play this game again. I was like, damn, I would go get a GameCube just to play that shit again. And I know they have it ported other ways, but just playing it on the GameCube, Fuck that.
You know
Why you rolling this shit? Why you rolling this shit? That bullshit Game Pass. I ain't talking about that. Damn, nigga. Fuck. Anyway, don't get that bullshit Game Pass. Look, anyway, Resident Evil 4 definitely deserves a spot in the top 5 of all time. I think if anybody's played Resident Evil, they know Resident Evil 4, hands down, is the best one in the franchise. You know,
somebody might disagree.
To me, it's the best one. It is. I'm not gonna, and there's close ones, close to it, but you got to look at it from the perspective of if you've played all the games, 4 just did everything right and everything new at the same time. They made it new, but they still made it familiar, and they still made it more fun.
Much as I love Resident Evil 4, I feel like Resident Evil, them changing the whole thing, making it an action game, it spawned like some bad Resident Evil games after 4.
I think
it spawned it. They had to go back to the original of Resident Evil to make it great.
They overstepped their boundary with 5. I think because of the response to 4, 5 and 6. 6 definitely 6. 6 fuck. I don't even think about 6. 6 ain't in my mind.
Responded those 2 games that was
because they were trying to capitalize because they did it just right. They had enough survival horror but enough action for 4 to work, and then they said, okay, well let's try to beef it up again. Let's go to Africa and make it all action. Go back with Resident Evil 7 to the survival horror aspect of it, which I love. Resident Evil 7, I love its first person. That shit was fucking dope.
Yes.
But 4 is just that of all time, it's got to be 4. Oh, and then Last of Us. What hasn't been said about Last of Us? Like, perfect game. And I've played The Last of Us multiple times as well. And the story is amazing. The gameplay is amazing. Just everything about that game just happened perfect. That's one of that is Naughty Dog's best game they've ever created. Outside of anything they've ever done, that's the one that I would give them 5 stars across the board for everything. So I don't want to spend too much time. Everybody knows how much I love The Last of Us. We need that fucking sequel. So yeah.
The Last of Us 2. Do you think it could possibly satisfy you?
I have no idea.
Because I feel like your expectations are going to be
I'm literally frightened. I'm excited, but I'm scared when that game comes out because my expectation for it is so high. I just want it to be just as good as the first one. I don't want it to be better because it's so hard to make a game like that better, in my opinion. I don't know if they do great. I just want to get the same feels I got from the first one. If I get that,
it's almost to the point to where it's like I kind of don't want them to make a sequel.
You know what?
Because it's like
a little bit.
With classic movies, you'd be like, oh, why y'all remaking that? Like, certain classic movies should just be left alone.
Yeah.
Like I feel like with this Last of Us, I'm like, maybe they should make a sequel. Like, let us just be at all with the first one and just like let us.
But they already sold too far. They already made the game.
They already made the game.
Finish.
Like
you said, at this point, I'm kind of scared. I'm like, man, what if they fuck it up?
Right.
What if it ain't as good as the first one? So, but just give me the same everything as the first one, and we good. I don't need a better game. I just need it to be consistent with the first one, and we're good. And Smash Ultimate, which is of course the most recent game. I just pick a Smash game because the franchise is my favorite. One of my favorites of all time. But Smash Ultimate, out of all the Smash games, is the best, clearly. On all levels, roster-wise, everybody's there. Gameplay-wise, World of Light is amazing. The music they put in, but what took it over the top, y'all already know, my boy Banjo. When they put that motherfucker in the game finally, he's not even here yet, but the fact that they finally put him in that shit, that made it all time. That was what took it over the top. When they said Banjo-Kazooie is gonna be in Smash Ultimate, I was like, that's it. There's nothing else they can do to this game to make me love it anymore other than what they've done. Like, they've consistently just been able to just make it better and better and it's been out since, December of last year? And it's just getting better and better. Like, everything about this game I just love. I'm gonna end up playing this game, I don't know how long. Like, the life cycle plus more, because I don't know when the next, I actually don't even want to make another Smash one. Just keep building on top of this one. Because I don't know what else they can do, because they're giving us all the goods now. But yeah, Smash Ultimate is definitely an all-time, thanks to Banjo-Kazooie. I can't wait. Fall can't come here. Fall, I swear to God, when fall comes, $2,000. Banjo.
$10,000.
Yoshi gonna have to take a seat for a second. But that's my list. That's my top 5.
What about you, Tyler? I want to know your 5. I'm really curious.
Okay. But first, can we find out about the time the Xbox Game Pass took your girl?
It's true, man. So y'all. if y'all got a PC like Willie, $15 a month, you know, you got the Game Pass Ultimate, it's on your PC, you straight. And you got Xbox Live Gold so you can play with your Xbox friends.
I'm just waiting for
Like me.
Switch anyway, that's what they about to do. Anyway,
You
continue,
just hate it so
Tyler.
much. You just hate it so much.
No, I just hate the fact that he intruded with my GameCube nostalgia with his Xbox game. I ain't got nothing against game. Like, but like, don't interrupt my shit. I was having a good
Fallout New
memory.
Vegas is my favorite game, like, of all time ever. Yeah, so I'm starting at number 1 and I'm going down. Fallout New Vegas wasn't the game that introduced me to the Fallout franchise, but it's the one that made it like my favorite franchise. Like, it really kind of solidified that love for me because I played Fallout 3 before I played New Vegas, but I didn't like Fallout 3 the first time I played it. I played it for like an hour and I was like, meh. But I saw the trailers for Fallout. Yeah, like I didn't like Fallout 3 at all the first time I played it. And then I saw the trailers for New Vegas and I was like, you know what, this looks dope. I'm gonna give it another chance. And I fucking love that shit. Like, I was obsessed with it. I sank so many hours into it. One of those games where I would be at work like, what am I doing here? Like, so because I love Fallout New Vegas so much and because there wasn't any sequel for Fallout coming out anytime soon, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go back and play 3 to kind of fill this void for me. And then I loved 3 the second time I played it. So that was kind of what made me get into Fallout as a franchise. Second favorite game, Fallout 4. I just kind of explained all that. Like, I love Fallout. I feel like everybody who knows me knows that I love Fallout. So my third favorite game of all time is Saints Row 2. Saints Row is my favorite franchise after Fallout. And I know that a lot of people view Saints Row as being like doing too much, or, you know, when it first came out, it was a bit of a GTA knockoff. But I don't know, like, Saints Row is just a lot of fun to me because it takes itself less seriously, and Saints Row 2 is my favorite out of all of them. And because like the first Saints Row was, you know, it was cool, it was fun, but it was a little bit more of a GTA knockoff. And I feel like with Saints Row 2 is when they really started kind of coming into their identity as a franchise. So another game that I would be at work like, oh my God, I need to go home and take back the role. Like, this is so pointless. GTA Vice City. And
Really? I didn't know you played GTA. Okay.
Oh yeah, that was.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I didn't
That's
know.
probably one of the reasons why I love it so much.
Okay. Yeah. No, go ahead.
Because especially back when that came out, like, Scarface was like my number 1 favorite movie. And so all of the, you know, like, kind of the world is mine shit in the mansion fight at the end. I mean, spoilers, but if you haven't played Vice City by now, like,
that game now is way too long for spoilers.
You're right. I know.
yeah, like the club that they were in, like, that he buys, like, yeah, so it was just fun, you know. I have a lot of really fond memories of playing like GTA Vice City. And then number 5, Mortal Kombat 3 Ultimate / Mortal Kombat Trilogy, which were basically the same game, depending on whether you were playing in the arcade or on Nintendo 64, which is what I had it on.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't got any. I think your games is pretty much what I anticipated. I know he's gonna have Saints. Really, I know he's gonna have Saints Row in there. Yeah, the GTA. I think I was like, because I don't think I never heard you talk about GTA before. So that was I didn't know you played. I didn't know you played GTA at all. So.
Yeah, Vice City, I think. I didn't expect you to like put that either, but you know, it's in lineage because you play Saints Row and you know and stuff like that. But yeah, Vice City, I think, is probably one of my favorite GTAs too, because I like same thing with the whole Scarface references and you know, it's in the whole Miami setting. It just works. Honestly, I enjoy playing that more than GTA 3. San Andreas, I'm like here, but then it's like Vice City's right here.
That's the one I hear a lot of people love.
Yeah, San Andreas is just like, you know, it's just I think it's because that's the black one. That's what it is. Honestly, it's the black one. It's some South City. It's like the way, you know, that's what it is. But
it is better in some ways.
But it is
acknowledge that it has improved on this formula. But yeah, San Andreas.
But Vice City, I think, I don't know. I think it just kind of like painted the way for like a San Andreas because once 3 hit and they kind of changed what Grand Theft Auto was, and then Vice City kind of built out the world more and gave it more of a theme. Let's say, okay, well we can work with this then. What other themes can we work with? Let's try this. Let's try that. So Vice City kind of like paved the way for the thematic versions of what you know Grand Theft Auto turned into. So.
It's fun. I was actually just about to say that. So at Controllerized recently, I picked up GTA Vice City for the first time in 15 years, and I was like, it's funny because like at the time I was like, oh, you know, I was so into it. I picked it up. One, y'all know that I hate PlayStation controllers, and because I had Vice City on the PS2, and back then I didn't have a point of reference, so PlayStation controllers didn't bother me as much.
I got you.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So I picked up
Now I can explain during this video.
I got you. Okay.
So, but also like the graphics, you know what I'm saying? It's funny when you think about how far we've come. Like when you think about the graphics of Pong, for example, versus like the shit we have like now, like The Last of Us and other games that look super realistic. When you go back to something like Vice City and everything is looking all triangular and shit, I was like, I used to look at this all day, like.
And their hands wasn't even fingers; they were like little like power little hands and shit. I was like,
riding a motorcycle like this.
Yeah, Vice City for me was the motorcycles and it was the music. That was the main difference for me. I was like, oh shit, I can listen to Michael Jackson while I'm on a motorcycle and jump this shit and run away from green car cops and shit. That shit was lit though. My question though, Fallout 3. Did you make it out the vault the first time? You played it? Barely.
Yeah, like I went through the whole vault thing and I got lost and I was annoyed the first time I played it. I remember getting lost and I've been able to find my way out of the vault and dealing with the fucking tunnel snakes and all that shit.
Oh yeah.
And so when I made it out, I think I walked around because at that point I think maybe I wasn't used to something that was that open world yet. And so I remember like going outside and walking around for maybe an hour and I was like, nah, I'm straight. And so, especially because like I rented it from Blockbuster, you know, so like it wasn't like I bought it. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just not rent this again.
I mean, it's not a free game, and it takes its time getting started. So that's what I was wondering, because most people, when they stop playing Fallout 3, it's like, I was tired of trying to kill roaches and shit. And the same thing happens with Oblivion, like, oh, I'm tired of killing rats in the sewers. And that's how they start out, like, not great. So that's why I asked. So you just came back to it and it was like, I'm used to New Vegas now. This is. How did you like it after you went back? Would it be like on a 10 list?
Oh, I loved it. I think that I might hesitate to put it in my top 10 only because I already have like New Vegas in 4, and so it'd probably be like in my top 15. But I mean, I love Fallout 3. I love the whole franchise, and I wouldn't even say, I don't know, it's more of a thing of where I was in my life or like what each game did for me or the ways that it shifted things, you know, when it comes to me picking a top 5 or ranking them. But, you know, yeah, I love Fallout 3. I replayed Fallout 3 several times, replayed New Vegas several times. So, yeah, even though I don't list it in my top 5, like it's still a really important game in my gaming career for me. And like I said, like I loved it the second time I went back and played it, even though I didn't like it the first time. I liked it enough to replay it a bunch.
So I mean, these are not ranked or nothing like that. I couldn't do that. Sorry, couldn't do it. But I will pick. This is probably one of the newer games, recent games. My first game, Last of Us. So I'm definitely with you on that one. The storyline, everything, the voice acting. Probably one of the best voice acting video games I've ever played. Like you feel indulged into that game as you playing, man. Just each scene, each time that shit was crazy. The way it ended, I mean, just like everything.
Man,
I mean, perfect.
It's a perfect game.
It's a perfect game. Perfect game. Everything looked good. It plays good. I mean, I love Last of Us, man. Like that is I brought that game twice. I had brought it on PS3, and then when even when it was on remaster on PS4, I brought it on PS4. I'm like, I gotta have it. Yeah. Next game is Metal Gear Solid PS1, the PlayStation 1 version. Man, the whole sneaking and stuff and snapping fools' necks and the storyline between that was about Snake being a clone and having his evil brother Liquid Snake, and you got Isolot, Volvo Isolot, and then you fighting the ninja, like the camouflage ninja, like that was, or the boss fights for that game was like, that was some of my favorite boss fights. Psycho Manus, where you had to take your controller out and plug it in the other one so you wouldn't reboot. Man, that shit was crazy. So yeah, Metal Gear Solid for PlayStation 1. Next game, Resident Evil 2. Gotta put that in there.
First one or the remake?
But a little bit of both. I mean, a little bit of both.
You gotta pick one.
I gotta pick one?
You gotta pick one, brother.
So the PS1 version, okay? PS1, that was the one that I fell in love with, was Resident Evil 2, the first one. The fact that you took a disc, played it, took it out, and then put the other one to play the different scenarios, I thought that was crazy. Man, I'm like, man, I thought that was crazy. I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't beat the full game? You gotta play the clear disc. I'm like, what? So yeah, I thought that was dope. The fact that you can customize your Magnum and your shotgun and stuff as Leon, thought that was dope. Next game, Mega Man 2. Mega Man 2 for Nintendo. The soundtrack alone just still blows my mind today. Still does. I mean, of course the game is fun as hell. It's hard as hell. I don't know how I beat that game so easily back then playing it, but I just like the soundtrack. The soundtrack puts you in the mood for each board. Like each board, like it's like the soundtrack matched what was going on in the board. Like I thought that was so amazing, man. And then my last game is Zelda, Ocarina of Time. To me, that Zelda game was like, I guess for Grand Theft Auto lovers, like how Grand Theft Auto 3 was, like the first like 3D, like here you go, you starting off as little, little Link, and then you just grow older and stuff. And I mean, the boss fights on there was insane. I think that was probably one of the games I spent the most hours trying to beat. Because besides Tomb Raider and Resident Evil 1, that was like the first game I really played where I was like, damn, this shit was a lot. Like, it was a lot of game at that time. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, I think it took me probably like maybe 3 weeks to beat. Like, it was just so much on that game that, and even areas that you thought you can conquer, you still had to go and do that. You got to go to the fire. Man, that shit was crazy. So yes, those are my 5 favorite games. Any questions up here?
I feel like we all expected that.
Y'all, so is my list? Is it on?
I'm kind of surprised. I wasn't, because I've never heard you talk about Ocarina of Time before, so I wouldn't necessarily.
Maybe it was before she got on
before.
Before she got on the podcast. Yeah, because Eric knows.
BZ, there was an article that came out that said Ocarina of Time is the best game of all time. And BZ was like, yeah, I don't see no problem with that. Yeah. So I'm just like, yeah, that's his favorite game.
I don't see no issue with that. I mean, I like the Super Nintendo Zelda, Link to the Past. That game is dope as hell too. But no, this one was just like on 64. Yeah. This one was just, man, that was a reason why I brought that game. Perfect Dark and 007 was the reason why I specifically brought a Nintendo 64. It was because of those 3 games. But okay, so cool. I thought y'all was gonna hate my list. Not really hate it.
I agree with you. Even though I'm not a huge Zelda, like I'm not big into Zelda, but Ocarina of Time is still my favorite Zelda too. Like that was the only Zelda game that I played all the way through and did everything because I just loved everything about that game so much, and it was just. And honestly, I think it's because it did go from 3D. Because like the earlier Zeldas, I wasn't interested in because it didn't look like that. It's like I want to do this. Where it's the overhead top shit. I wasn't into those type of games. So when they made it 3D, and then like you said, Link can grow up, and you can do all this stuff, and you can play the little flute shit. That was my shit. I love doing that. So like the ocarina, the flute shit. I called it when I was a kid. I called it the flute shit. And it's still the flute shit to me. Damn it.
The name is literally in the title.
Right. I know, but I still say, yo, let me play the flute shit real quick. I say that shit. I'm still gonna say that shit, nigga. I know it's the ocarina.
That's what we were saying.
Damn, nigga, fuck. Oh, that'd be correct, motherfucker.
Yeah. This is pretty predictable, though, pretty much, huh?
For me, yeah. Okay. Link to the Past is my favorite Zelda. I was close to putting that on my list, didn't make it. I heard a few things that I almost put on my list.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat Trilogy was almost on my list.
That's an easy choice. I thought you was gonna be like, yeah,
it would have been if we did a top 10, but I had to think about like Killer Instinct, which is I put more time and I had more, fun with that one.
I actually prefer Super Nintendo Killer Instinct. I think it's because of the controller, and it was easier for me to pull off the ultra combos with the Super Nintendo shit. So that's always gonna be the one to have in my heart. I thought about it and I was like, nah. So let me see, what else you have on your list? Resident Evil 2, Metal Gear Solid,
PS1,
Flute Shit of Time,
Mega Man
2.
Yeah. So I think you kind of know. Yeah, I think Eric kind of knew like what I was gonna have in my list.
I might be a little surprised that you don't have Division on it, only because I heard you talk about it so much.
Oh, yeah, no, I think it's just not over these games. Not over. What's your 5?
All right, my 5. I think it's gonna be kind of predictable for the most part. My first game, for some reason, whenever I'm talking out loud about games, this game comes up, or at least this series comes up. And I always reference it. Halo 3. Halo 3, I blame for, and it's probably not the case, but I blame for me dropping out of college because LAN parties, it was just lit, man. It's just too many memories around Halo 3 in general. Now, Halo,
it's a personal.
It's mad personal, and it's a good ass game, and it was chock full of content. That's the thing. You got what the fuck you paid for. And as somebody who plays campaign modes and enjoys those, it had a great campaign. And the multiplayer, lit as fuck. Again, LAN parties, going next door to South Carolina State University, hearing niggas in other rooms screaming because you just ran them over. It was the best shit ever, man. I'm telling you, bro. I had to think about it, really. And that's Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. The reason it almost didn't make it, because I'm only a fan of like 3 of the characters in that game, Ryu, Ken, Chun-Li, and that's about it. I'm not fucking with nobody else. I like Fei Long and shit, but I don't know, man. I almost wanted to put Street Fighter Alpha in there, but I don't know. I had to stick with Third Strike. the fucking Justin Wong versus Daigo moment. Like, well, you know what the fuck I'm talking. You know what the fuck I'm talking about. That's like one of the best moments in esports history. Even though I'm not in esports, I recognize that shit as being super dope. Next game, Turtles in Time, my most rented video game of all time. Every weekend, bro. My brothers used to be like, man, you renting this shit again? Turtles in Time is why I missed out on black movies in the 90s. Because I'm like, they're like, yo, you can rent anything you want. Turtles in Time, thanks. Friday, excuse me. Turtles in Time.
Wow, you know Friday there?
Turtles in Time, goddamn. Yeah, man. I put it over everything.
I know. Why'd you buy it?
That's a very good question.
Why did you only buy something?
I didn't buy it because I didn't have a job.
For all the money that was spent renting that shit over and over again, you could have bought 5 copies of that shit.
You just saved up some money, man. And games weren't that expensive back then.
Yeah, so every time you spend it.
It wasn't mine, though. Not like we children value money.
But like, why don't you have your parents get it for you, like for your birthday or for Christmas?
Like a store or something like that. Like if I went to my cousin's house, oh, they don't take requests. It's like, here you go, nigga. Here's some.
What would you like for your birthday?
Yeah. You know what they would buy me? A flute shit of time. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, it looked like the other shit.
Flute shit of time.
A flute shit of time. It was a rotation, honestly. So there was some Streets of Rage 1, 2, 3 up in there. There was some Final Fight 3 up in there. Mostly though, it was beat 'em ups. And that beat 'em up was motherfucking Turtles in Time. Every time. Next game also almost didn't make the list. I kind of had to.
Damn.
This had to be like an open world, so it was almost Fallout 3. I decided on Skyrim because I don't know, man. The feelings I get when I play this game, like probably not now, but when I first played it, the first time I saw a dragon shadow fly over me, I'm like, yo, what the fuck? So I played Oblivion. I played like all the Bethesda shit, all the DLC for all the Bethesda shit. I'm all about it. Skyrim might not be the most popular choice to put out there because it's more action-based and RPG-based like Oblivion and Morrowind and all that shit. But I like slow motion kills and the Zack Snyder effect in video games, I guess. It works there. It don't work in movies.
I feel like Skyrim is probably the most loved out of the Elder Scrolls series.
Yeah,
like from an aggregate standpoint, like most people, I feel like it was the most like famous and talked about one.
It was the most popular before like Elder Scrolls hipsters, I'll call them. Oh, it's so mainstream. Oh, you like Skyrim? Oh, dragons? Yeah. You know, like them motherfuckers? Like, they're probably typing in the comments just now, like, I don't sound like that. My last game, also almost didn't make the list simply because I forgot about it.
What did definitely make the list?
This is it, huh?
Nigga started with Halo.
Halo and Turtles. Halo and Turtles, those are definites, man.
And then you just do a dark one.
There it is.
Right.
If you ask me this list tomorrow, it'll probably be a completely different list, but with Halo and Turtles. But this last game was almost Arkham City. I'll at least tell you what it almost was. Mega Man X, man. Mega Man X. The music, kind of the same effect of Mega Man 2 for you, but this was the first Mega Man game I played, and I tried to go back and play like Mega Man 1 and shit, where he looked all goofy on the cover. And he couldn't dash, he couldn't jump on walls, he couldn't charge his shots. To me, he couldn't do shit. So I was like,
So made
fuck
it harder, man.
all of this.
So made it harder.
Nah, fuck all that, man. Mega Man X and that dope ass soundtrack, you could hop in machines and punch shit around. Unlock the Hadouken, Street Fighter fan, of course. One hit KO, Mega Man X, man. That got me on to Mega Man X 2, 3, 4, 5, not 6, 7, 8. But I love Mega Man X, man. Anyway.
I'm trying to think, yeah.
Discourse.
I can't think of none right now. I was trying not to speak your list, but just trying to think of the games I'm surprised you didn't have in there. Yeah, Halo definitely was.
Yeah, I knew.
I knew you was gonna have Halo in there. I'm surprised you put punk ass Persona in there.
It's not my favorite game. You just hate it the most. You just have a strong reaction.
But you love that game so much, though.
I do. I love a lot of games.
Yeah,
that's why we here.
That's true. That's true. Maybe it's just more of like a recent thing. It's like
you just have a knee-jerk reaction to that shit.
Yeah.
Shit
So
sucks.
I'm thinking about where, if I were to rank Halo 3, like where it would fall from you, because I also spent so much fucking time playing Halo 3, and I have like a lot of fond memories of, you know, like at the time that we were playing it the most. And this wasn't even actually when it first came out. It was like a couple years after it came out. But I was doing like a paid internship at this post-production house, And so when we had clients, like where they were sitting there waiting for something to render or whatever, like we would be in there playing Halo. And like sometimes on Friday, if we had like a little bit of downtime, we would have a building wide like Halo 3 game going on. And that shit was so much fun. And I actually think that was probably, because at that point I didn't have a 360 yet. And that was kind of instrumental in me deciding to buy a 360 because I wanted to be able to play Halo 3 at home. So yeah, Halo 3 had like a huge impact on me and took up so much of my time. But I don't know where I could, what games that are in, say, my top 10 that I could put it above.
Man,
It's certainly not my top 5.
I remember one of my first times playing Halo 3, I was in the dorms. And like one of my neighbors, like, he just popped his head in my door, like, oh, I heard Halo music. I'm like, the fuck? And he was like, come on, man, you ain't shit, let's play, whatever. Whooped his ass, bro. Wiped the floor with him, sweeped it, Swiffered it, all that shit. And then he took me upstairs to like where the upperclassmen were on the top floor where they were playing Halo. He's like, yo, I found this kid. It was like a literal movie, bro.
It sounds like I'm seeing
Yeah, and I was like the second best at my entire school in Halo. And then that's why we would go over to South Carolina State, Claflin University, by the way. We would go over to South Carolina State, whoop their ass, and then Modern Warfare came around and then killed everything, bro. It was like, oh, they only play Call of Duty now, and shit was just kind of dead.
Your list is very, very like what I thought you would get. Now, Skyrim, I guess Skyrim is probably the only thing that really surprised me. Like Skyrim, like I haven't played any of the Elder Scrolls games, but I do like the music in Skyrim. I've heard like the soundtrack, which is amazing. So just off that soundtrack, I'm like, okay, I respect it.
That's how the screen used to be my alarm, nigga. I'm like, oh, time to get up. Time to Kart I'm out this bitch, bro.
But you know, Turtles in Time, I would say Turtles in Time was also my favorite
And you seen it in the arcade for 4 players? Oh my god, the first time that shit happened. Because I didn't know it was like that. And I was like, oh shit, it's 4 of them, bro.
Four of them. No.
Got it in, man.
Makes sense.
Right.
And the arcade was a fucking drive, man. It was a drive to get damn near anywhere where I'm from. So our drive, or our ride to the arcade with my mom, shopping in the mall.
I know.
She hooked me up with some orders. Yeah, dog. That's why I'm a gamer. That's why I'm a gamer, man. Ain't shit to do with it.
Can we move? Like,
Hey, I have a request. Let's get the fuck out of here.
I like to move for Christmas.
That boy, you can take this blue shit of time.
Right. Shit of time. And shut the hell up.
All right, well, I guess that'll do it for this video. Appreciate you guys watching. I hope if y'all got any comments about our list and y'all want to put y'all list in the comment section, make sure y'all do holler at us in the YouTube comment section or in Discord as well. We'll be chatting with y'all in there. But till then, we'll check y'all later. Peace.
Peace.